Spanish cast did not make it into the game. You know, sometimes I feel like getting into a game on Battle.net is like the Hunger Games. You just... the Battle.net just takes you out before you get a chance to get started. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to DreamHack Summer. We continue here with Group Stage 1, but now we're doing the other 8 groups that we didn't get to do earlier. And this is a fresh best of 3. It's the first best of 3 in this half of the broadcast. And spawning here at the top left corner of the map, it is Big Daddy, the Red Protoss WhiteRa.
The bottom right, as the blue Zerg, it is Terenz.
From zvP. This is a team that's actually cranked out quite a few good players in the past. Granted, a lot of them have been Protoss players who've gone on to retire, sadly, but zvP is a team a lot of you guys may not know about, but they've had some pretty damn good players. So Terenz is not someone I am too particularly familiar with, but we'll see how he holds up against WhiteRa. WhiteRa definitely not in the prime of his play, I would say, but the one thing he's always been able to do, there's always the jokes about special tactics, but he's always been able to innovate the gameplay, even if it's only the slightest, tiniest thing. Of course, like, you know, the mothership recall with the probes, I don't know if he's the one who invented it, but everyone kind of seems to think he was. At the start of Heart of the Swarm, we had, of course, the Proxy Nexus PvP, kind of started as a joke, but now we see Huck doing it in actual tournaments, so I like WhiteRa. He's a smart cookie.
He used to stream a lot. I used to watch him stream all the time. He does some serious, like, electro music.
I actually really like his really thick accent for his English, too.
Yeah, it's very... I don't know, it's appealing.
He's Ukrainian, right? Not Russian, I think, right? I'm pretty sure he's Ukrainian.
Yes? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. The accent is just really fun to listen to with his commentary, of course. But, alright, Probe doesn't die. But we don't exactly see cannons coming down yet. We do have the Forge Expand back at home, so it's kind of an old school build for an old school dude, but a safe way to play as far as the openings go. I'm much more particular to seeing the gateway aggression, like 9 times out of 10, but the one thing this does kind of lend to is the potential to cannon still, if so he wants.
Yeah, it's pretty much, we see a lot of players, they go into the probe here and they see the timing of the hatchery, and by that you can tell if it's a, you know, a 15 pull or a 15 hatch. And then that's when they decide usually to use the forge. It's not that much of a cut to your economy, although it is a little to get the forge. The chances of being able to cannon rush is pretty great.
And we've seen some pretty good cannon rushes in the past, but alright, so WhiteRa's not going to get to do a lot of that shenanigans, but the pool finishes up, Queen's out, and of course the Lings are starting to hunt down this probe. I don't actually know if this one will get back home in time. Usually the full health,
so.
Yeah, usually the full health probe gets back there barely alive. The 5 health probe I don't think is going to be quite so lucky. Here in the northern wilds of King Sejong Station. But okay, so for WhiteRa, my curiosity kind of peaks to, like, where is he at as far as, like, the quote-unquote meta of the game goes? We see so much of the standard... Well, the probe actually lives. We see so much of the standard stuff with, like, the Stargate follow-up to this that leads into the Phoenix. And, you know, we got that sort of base-wide economy back and forth with 3 bases versus 3 bases. And the Zerg takes a 4th and double expands sometimes. Colossus versus Hydras, etc., etc. Or if WhiteRa's just going to change it up. You know, go for the Robo. Go for the Sentries that we had talked about in that last series that we didn't see out of Space Marine. Maybe change that up a little bit, but what do you think? What do you think we're gonna see?
Stargate.
Well, that's a great call, Zombie Girl, but I don't know how you knew that was gonna come.
I don't know. It was just a feeling.
Actually, I think the better question is why we're gonna go for the Oracle. The placement of this actually puts it really close to the natural of his opponent, and if he does like chrono out an Oracle, it's gonna get there wicked fast.
I'm gonna go with nay.
Well, Phoenixes or Oracles, whatever the case may be, it's worth noting Terenz is not slapping down those Spore Callers yet, because he does see it. He knows it's there. The Overlord got the nice scout off, but...
Yeah. It's an interesting place to put it. I mean, it's not really hidden, and it's not really, like, in that much of a position. Unless he goes for the Oracle, it's that much closer, but, like, even then...
Yeah, it's the Oracle.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only reason I can figure putting it there, because if you put it there and you're going to go Phoenixes, it just makes it susceptible to things like Mutalisks a lot more. You're not going to be able to put Stalkers back there to hold against it, but the Oracle coming across the map. Okay, so we see the Oracles go down 2 general routes, guys. On one hand, they can ignore the Queen, take a bit of damage, and kill about 7 drones, no problem. On the other, they can kill the Queen, and be left with enough energy to kill about maybe 2 or 3 drones.
Well, second Oracle, too.
Okay, so this, well, this means the first one definitely needs to not die. But with the Spore Crawler coming in too, it's still kind of limited on what it can do. Looks like it's gonna go for the drones first in this scenario.
Yeah. Of course, you can always get some drones by only taking shield damage, or take a little bit of hull damage as well.
Small attempt to poke with a stock on the left side too, with what's going on. But the second Oracle is a bit odd to see. If you pairs this up with 3, that'd actually be really cool, because that's sort of the anti-Terran amount you would go for. You don't really see it versus Zergs.
No. This is going to pack a lot of punch. I mean, one Spore Crawler will take this down still pretty fast, so you still want to be really, really careful. But if you find a sweet spot, or if you find Lings, even this, you can definitely take them down very, very fast with 2 Oracles. WhiteRa takes this opportunity, in fact, to go for a very fast third. That was about 730.
Well, you know what's really nice about this too is, while they might have the bonus damage versus the roaches, Oracles attack so freaking fast that they really just, they lay thick into anything they attack. But if Hydras are out later and you can retain these to that end game, there are some rare instances where Oracles get to truck on Hydras because they're so busy dealing with the Zealots in front of their faces.
Overlord will get a good scout here. I didn't even know he had an Overlord back there, but I guess he did. Usually, like, even if they get 2 Oracles, we see 1 Phoenix. Just take care of the Overlords that are on the map.
Well, WhiteRa looks pretty hard to make sure that he doesn't see the Robo coming down. Of course, this other Overlord has already seen it, so I don't know. The 4th Century is kind of emergency warped in, probably just for energy anyways, but we got roaches coming up behind us out of Terenz, and what's nice is, you know, if you waste to bank these up, the Oracles, they can always do a bit of harass. Of course, the damage is good, but they're not exactly going to tear through roaches. It'll still take time to nail them down.
What's more important is that Terenz has not scouted this third. Ling didn't get over there. Drone wasn't over there. I only expect that he'll definitely attack the third and check when he attacked, because then it would be like normal time to see a third. But like, you know, sometimes you even see it still building with the roach attack. To have it already done and have it sim stadied and well saturated would be a surprise to Terenz.
WhiteRa ducks back in with the Oracles, up to 10 kills now. And once again, he's really not taking a whole lot of damage on these Oracles, guys, so that might not be getting devastating amounts of damage right now, but if you can keep these alive for the whole game and every 1 minute come back for like 4 or 5 drones, it really adds up quickly. And at the moment, I wouldn't say these have been worth it, but they might end up paying for themselves the further we get into the game. Now back at home, WhiteRa's got a hell of a lot of sentries. He doesn't have that many Immortals out. A second one's soon to join these, but this is primarily roaches and slow Lings. I really don't see this being that threatening. A Photon Overcharge and a couple good force fields should keep WhiteRa safe.
Yeah. If this wasn't ready for a Photon Overcharge, if it was still building, he probably gets a cancel for sure. Maybe even a couple of kills. But with the cannon and all that sentry energy, you should actually just...
Yeah, he's even brought the Oracles back home. They can get involved in the fight if they want to.
If they need to, it seems. WhiteRa's being very patient.
Force field's coming from the backside. Terenz trying to burn a lot of these.
Well, he's trying to
well, that traps
him.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it traps the army. But that lets the Oracles get involved with the fight, and he's going to fall back out of this now. So, no workers lost for WhiteRa. Terenz doesn't exactly get a great trade there. In fact, it's 2,000 to 0 in the resources lost tab right now, so not too great at all. But 4th base was taken behind this. He's even got the extractors up. So, as these are transferring drones over, we're going to start seeing well, what I would have otherwise said being Hydralisks, instead this time probably going to be Mutalisks.
I think so.
And when you see this many sentries, and I think there's a decent stalker count, but the Oracle's not that threatening. You never saw any Phoenix follow us up. Mutalisks for harass, maybe like 8 to 10 rather than that dedication to 30 could be absolutely fantastic in this scenario.
We'll see what his plans is very, very soon. It's now, he's actually getting kind of fairly early spine crawlers.
He's banking a lot right now, though. I mean, that's 1,100 each.
There's the 9 meters.
There you go. He's making a lot more Lings behind this too, which I just, they're slow Lings. Zombie Grab, look at this in the middle of the map. I can't.
Speed is about to finish.
I know, like, he's got that on the way, but man, is that gross to look at.
We're all kind of moving out a little bit. He feels fairly confident against the, well, Ling Roach, but the Mutas, well, you know, even 13 Mutas, that's a lot of Stalkers and a lot of Sentries.
Yeah, these are Mutas that are not for fighting the army. These Mutas are definitely going to be enforced in some harass, but if you can keep WhiteRa constantly defending, that gives them the time to build up the Mutaflock to be that unstoppable count. But Ling's running around the side of it. They slip past the Zealot into the natural. Suddenly this is a bit of trouble.
PM Zealot. That Zealot was absolutely worthless. Whips in a few more Zealots, but he's also going to go ahead and continue the attack. The Mutas also join the fray, so that natural is definitely those probes are gone. The Nexus might even go down as well. But how much damage can WhiteRa do on his side of the map?
I think if this goes to the base trade, I think WhiteRa takes this. The Stalker bonus damage, the Immortal bonus damage, it's just going to be too much. Those buildings will die so much faster from WhiteRa's fire than they will from Terenz's little puny glaive worms and tiny link claws.
Well, it could still be tricky because as long as WhiteRa doesn't take down the Spire fast enough, there's going to be a lot more mutas trickling in. I actually really started to gas right now, so maybe not. But WhiteRa still has 2 base economy. That main really isn't all that mined out. It's still okay. Nexus going down to the natural does suck, but I don't think it's enough damage done. Like, WhiteRa can still reinforce a lot more stalkers.
Exactly. I mean, look at these guys marching down. They've got Blink as well, so dealing with the mutas isn't out of the question. This is just too much. Terenz went for the base trade. It's not a bad idea, granted. Sometimes you just can't fight that Protoss army head on, but in this instance, there wasn't those 40 spines at the top of the ramp waiting. I mean, that's the time you buy yourself in these sort of trades. Terenz had a good idea. He just didn't have enough to execute it is the problem. He's still making more Mutalisks right now, and while sometimes Mutalisks can win you the game, and he's gone for that massive Spinecrawler count down here, I still just don't think it's going to be enough.
It's not massive enough.
Well, it's not like that, but there's no concave. You know, when you come up a ramp, you know specifically they have to walk through a ton of spines. Here, WhiteRa can just walk around this, come in through the backside, and all of a sudden he's fighting like 2 or 3 spines instead of 5 or 7.
Yeah. What's really important is that he did kill the Spire. Terenz, maybe thinking ahead a little more, would have built the Spire before the lair went down, of course, but at some other location. Because that's really what he's banking on, is maybe getting just enough mutas to take on the Stalker and Sentry count of WhiteRa. WhiteRa.
Well, the hallucinated Immortal goes down pretty quickly. For those who don't know, fun fact, just while we're waiting, hallucinated Immortals actually get the Hardened Shield effect. But they take 20 damage instead of 10 because, hallucination effect, but still kind of cool to know. But this base is getting trucked on as predicted. He came in from the left side, went around. No real issues here whatsoever for WhiteRa. And while the mutas have wrapped around to come back to fight, there's just so many stalkers here, Zombie Grove. I can't seem taking this.
It's 25 mutas to 26 stalkers, but also with a couple of sentries and...
We have the citizen's arrest going down on the hatchery. However, this one ling is actually going to kill all the probes.
What was really surprising about this is that Terenz, of course, he went to the natural first, and then you might think, go directly to the main and get that protection and get that tech, which is not a bad idea. Like, the third is just so okay for WhiteRa. He's like, it's cannoned up, it got all the tech that was lost in the main. He's mining so well. And of course,
this is the Spinecrawler wall, by the way. Like, this is what he needed in his main. This
I don't
right
think
here.
WhiteRa should actually... I mean, he'll probably still win, but this is a
hang on,
risky way to do it.
Mutas are starting to get some good pickoffs. If those spines were done...
Spinecrawlers are killing so many stalkers.
Exactly.
But I think
too many mutas gone down, though. I mean, 13 are remaining. It's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I was like, I still think he was going to win, but if he was going to throw the game, it would be running his stalkers into the spines.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.